Hello there and welcome to Chris's Retro Corner. I'm Chris, this is my Retro Corner, and this is my Atari 1040ST. If you browse retro computer scene forums and Facebook groups at the moment, it won't take long before you see references to people replacing aging mechanical floppy disk drives with low-cost floppy drive emulators. These floppy drive emulators, to all intents and purposes, look like a regular floppy disk drive to your old microcomputer. However, they give you the ability to reliably load and save data without the need of physical disks. I got my Atari earlier this year, so I'm still very new to it. But over the course of the first week or two of my ownership, I began to experience boot failures and unreadable disks. I've removed the drive, its top cover, cleaned the read-write heads carefully, and for a short time the problem went away. However, after a couple of days, it was back, and on closer inspection, my discs, it would seem that I had some physical damage on them. If we have a quick look, this is a fast basic. This is ST fast basic, and this is the disc that seems to be worse. So you can see here. Maybe you can see here. It's a little difficult to see in this light. I might take a couple of stills. There you go, at the very outside of the track there. That disc is totally unreadable. This is another one, and again, just sort of, if I can get the light right, in a similar position, I've got a mark on the track, and that comes up in gem as unreadable. Afterburner. Sometimes this will read, sometimes it won't. Again, I'll try and get a decent look at the track for you if I can. But it's well, surface of the disc. It seems to be the outside edge of the disc that's causing the problem. So after some research on read errors and damaged discs, it looks like I'll probably need to re-clean the floppy drive again, but also clean up the surfaces of my floppy disks before I try reusing them, else I'm just going to damage them again. It seems over time that things such as dust, grit, other particles, mould, even fragments of the magnetic coating itself can contaminate the surface of the discs, and this in turn gets transferred off one disc onto the right heads, off onto another disc, and it's not good. At best you might get the occasional read error, but at the worst, the action of the disc spinning, it's basically going to grind those contaminants. It's going to be act like an abrasive, physically wear the magnetic coating of the disc, destroying the data on it. And like I said, worst luck. It seems to be. If we go back to this one again, it seems to be exactly the case with this disc. That's exactly what's happened. So yeah, not wanting to mash up any more media, I my interest was piqued regarding Gotek drives, so I thought I'd give it a go. What would be better than having sort of reliable access, sort of reading your discs, and sort of helping out this old girl just a little bit. So I've done some research. You're joining me as a complete newbie and beginner, not only with the Ataris but with the Goteks as well. So if I make some mistakes, you'll have to forgive me. It's not how to, it's how I'm doing this, and so if there are problems and errors, it's all my fault. And of course, and yeah, I will power through and I'll get it sorted. But you're along for the ride with me. So apparently the things that we need are an Atari ST, which is great because I've got one. At least I've got one now. So a Gotek drive. There we go. That's my Gotek drive. So yeah, like I said, to all intents and purposes, it looks like it plugs in power, data, and behaves very much like an old floppy disk used to. So yeah, we'll need one of those. Be aware that there are apparently quite a few different models of these, different versions of these. I did my homework. I found one that seems to be working, and this is an SFR1 M44 U100. Okay, it's a bit of a mouthful, but that's what that one is, and apparently it seems to be working okay. I need a computer running Windows. Yeah, there we go. So that'll do. So there are other software versions that allow a connection to the Gotek and the firmware flashing in these for Mac and Linux as well, but we've got a Windows machine here as well. So what we do need is a USB to TTL dongle. There we go, it's one of those, and a lead to allow connection to the drive. So what we do with this is basically we're replacing the firmware on here. Might need drivers for this as well. I'm hoping Windows 10 just installs it. It'd be really nice if it did. But yeah, that basically allows your machine to talk to that, flash the firmware. What I'm hoping to use, the software I'm hoping to use to do that transfer is STM32 Flash by ST Microelectronics. Okay, so I will put links to bits and pieces as much as I can. Try and be helpful in the comments. So another thing that we need is going to be the right software for this. It's kind of up to you. There are a couple of options that I found at the moment. There's either Flash, Floppy, or HXC. Both are pretty much as good as each other. One does a little bit more than the other. But yeah, take your pick. So I've gone for Flash Floppy. Hopefully that's going to work for me. Need a spare USB thumb drive to store your floppy images on. That should be FAT32 formatted. I'll probably format that before we use it, because that, if you didn't spot, that goes in there. There we go, and that's our disk, I suppose. And just a quick look, up, down, eject, and that's about it. So to allow you to choose between your image files. So what else do we need? We're going to need some floppy disk images, which is okay. I've had a snoop around on the internet, because you can do that sort of thing. I do have the power pack discs, so I've got the rest of the power pack there, wherever they are. There we go. R-Type, what a great game. Anyway, sidetracked. So I've got the power pack for the ST, so I've gone and found myself downloadable disk image versions of those. There's a question mark as to whether or not they're going to work. I have got STX images, Flash Floppy. I'm led to believe that it's not always necessarily compatible with it, so I may stumble, I may run into problems, but you'll see it, and we'll get through it together. So what else do we need? Incidentals, soldering iron, bits and pieces, some solder, solder sucker maybe, if you make mistakes like me, I might. I've got some solder wicks somewhere around as well, might come in handy. Right, header pins, because what we need to do is we need to add some header pins here. Okay, so we're missing the header pins to allow a serial connection to this. So I am going to take a couple of old non-working expansion cards from some old PCs and nick some of the pins off here and put them there. Is that it? Probably. Posi head screwdriver, you need to take that apart. We'll take the case off that in a sec. Yeah, I think we're about there. I could probably do with a big mug of tea. So let's get a big mug of tea. So, I've got my tea. Have a quick slope. Lovely. So, let's get to work. So that's our first 4 header pins done. So that is our header pins added to our Gotek drive. Time for some tea. So we're done with this. Let's move these out of the way. Okay, so what we need to do now is connect up our USB to TTL adapter to the right ports. Okay, so worked out a little diagram so we can see what colours are connected here. I need to just pop these on here, so give me a sec. Okay, I think that looks right. And we need to plug this into our Windows computer. So let's pop that out of the way for a second. Get in our laptop and plug it in, see what happens. So what we need to do is install the software that will actually put the firmware onto this. Okay, we haven't got a COM port, so maybe it's not installed this yet. Okay, let me see if I can figure out which COM port this is supposed to be on. So, turns out that I didn't have the right device drivers for that. So went and found these, WinDriver Prolific version 3200. Comes with an installer, ran that. Having a quick look in Device Manager now, under ports, COM port, you can see that this device is being seen on COM port 3. Okay. Quick restart after that as well, and I think we're back in business. So we'll try and carry on, see how far we get this time. No response from target. Bootloader can't be sorted. Please reset your device and then try again. Okay, so I figured that might actually be a problem. So what we need to do, just make sure I can see what I'm doing, is short the 2 pins here, resetting the device. There we go, and then we'll try it again. There we go. That's a little bit better. So we need to remove the protection from here. Okay. Okay, looks like that's okay. Looks good. Download to device, that's what we need to do. We need to go and find our flash floppy files. I'm going to try the most recent firmware version first. At the moment that's version 3.13a. I suspect there may be a problem with it, I'm not quite sure, but it is the most recent version, so we'll give that a go. Hopefully we'll be able to change that. There we go, there's our file if we need to. Okay, I think this is all good to go. Raising flash, downloading data. There we go. Downloaded operation complete successfully. I think that's as good as we can hope for. Right, so effectively we're done with this now. So let's unplug it very quickly, pop in our USB key, and just format that. Need to make sure it's FAT32, so we'll change that. There we go, FAT32. Give it a name. Okay, so that's going to be ready to go. We'll come back to that shortly. For the time being, I'm going to pop it over here and we'll put this to one side. Go back to that. Unplug these. And where that jumper has to change, so we'll just undo that. That was there just so we can flash the device. I'll move that out of the way and then pop it back in the case. To put on here, I think this goes on S0. Pretty sure it does. For the ST. Cool, there we go. And we shall fetch down our ST. Okay. So, we need to take the floppy drive out with this. I think these are the floppy drive mounting screws, so we'll take those off now. Okay. Oh dear. It's a bit yellowed. We'll come back to that. We'll come back to that some other time. So, there's our drive. There we go, super stuff. Pop that out of the way. And we'll bring in our Gotek. So I believe that the Gotek cable, sort of the pin 1 is over this side, it's marked on the board. So we need to rotate our floppy cable. It's already got a bend in that direction, so not too worried about rotating it in that fashion. Okay. We're a little short on the power lead, but this isn't going to be installed in here permanently. Just like to test and make sure that it's actually working okay. So that's sorted out. Let's pop that over here and get that wired in. Quite keen to see if that's going to start up okay. I'm sure it will. But there we go. Flash floppy. So it looks like that's worked to a degree. We'll let that boot up. As we're doing that, we also need to put something, well, a few things on our USB stick. Fantastic. So we actually booted up okay. So what we need to do with this is, or at least what I'm going to do, there's an auto boot HFE manager, so it's a slot manager, piece of software out there. So it means copying a couple of files over to the root of the hard drive, and so when you boot on slot 000, it will give you that boot manager, and you can assign image files to particular slots. So that's what I'm going to try and do. So we need to take that auto boot file. Let's have a think. Yep. So we're going to copy that over to our USB, and then I'm going to take, there's an updated version of that config file, pop that over there as well. So as you can see, we've got those two files in the root of our C drive. I'd mentioned that I'd got have a quick look. There we go. I've mentioned that I've got some the Atari Power Pack image files, so if we copy those over to the root of that drive as well, that'll give us some disk images to look at and see if we can get working. There we go. So I've got the boot file, the config file for it, and then I've got the disk images there as well. I'm keen to know how well I'll get on with these STX files. I know the ST files work okay, so I've got a few of those at the bottom there, the language organizer and music maker disks, but the game disks are all in STX format, so I am a little nervous as to whether or not they're going to work, but yeah, we should be good to go. Take that out, pop this away, and then pop this in our Gotek's USB slot. Okay, looks like it's done something. Fingers crossed. So make sure it's on 000 and we'll reset the machine. And with a little bit of luck, there we go. It's booted up into the slot manager. This is my first look at this, so excuse me if I'm not quite sure what I'm doing with it yet, because I don't quite know what I'm doing with it yet. Bad config file version. Right, okay. I'll tell you what. Let's go back. Let's go back to the other version. So get rid of that config file. Copy the other one there instead. And then we'll give that another go. And we'll see how we get on this time. And there we go. So these are the files on the root of the thumb drive. Let's have a look and see what we can find. So select afterburner. We will put it in slot 0, I think. R-type, slot 2. How does one save? I don't know if you do, to be honest. Pop coordinate in 3 while we're here. Oh, I might as well go through. There we go. Although I really don't know how we get out of that. Right, so there we go. No, you can't select anything there. So I'm going to hope that that's saved the config anyway. It saves on the fly. If it goes to 0, it's going to load the manager again. Can I change that? can't change that. So I'm going to have to be quick. No. I'll tell you what. I can't. Don't know. Must be something in there, because it kind of checked, didn't it? It kind of ran a little check. Okay. I'll tell you what, let's, for the moment, let's take that out. Let that start up. Right, I'm sure I should be able to select which image I want to load. So that's interesting. Let's give that a restart and see if it saved my config file. No, it didn't. So it didn't know what's in what slot. Ah, okay. I think I've just remembered. I think it's F10 to save. There we go. Exit rebooting. 1. Oh, E3. I don't know what E3 is. That could be a worry. 2. Okay, let's go for slot 2. And then restart and see what happens. Maybe this is that STX image file problem. Let's pop that up to 17, because I know that was an ST image. Ah, there we go. That's interesting. So it's booted into Gem on slot 17, which was the music maker. Program, and there we go. It does actually look like that's working okay. There we go. Atari Music Maker. Interesting. First time I've looked at this. Okay, so it's kind of working. I'll have to have a look up and see if those STX files actually do work. It might be that I have to look out for some ST files and use those instead. So pretty much got that working. I'll be looking at this and doing some upgrades on it. I want it external as well to the case. I want to retain the internal floppy, so I'll clean that, get that working properly and test that. But yeah, this will end up external. I'm looking at a couple of mods for this, so an OLED screen, a rotary encoder as well, an internal piezo buzzer, so you hear the effect of a floppy disk loading up, for those sort of retro feels. So thank you very much for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you again in another video soon.